the various steps taken by this government for improving the power situation. The stage 3 600 megawatts Mettur thermal power project has already commenced trial production. The 500 megawatts first unit of the joint venture between TANGEDCO and NTPC at Vallur has also been commissioned in November 2012. The second and third units of this joint venture of 500 megawatts each are expected to be commissioned by March and October 2013 respectively. 2 units of 600 megawatts each in North Chennai will be commissioned by April and May 2013 respectively. By operating existing power stations efficiently and procuring power from the power exchanges and other sources, the load shedding has also come down considerably. TANGEDCO has successfully obtained substantial transmission capacity of about 500 megawatts from January 2012 to March 2013 by participating in e-bidding for inter-regional transmission capacity. This has enabled TANGEDCO to avail of power from outside the southern region, which it had already booked but was not available to avail of due to corridor constraints. In addition, TANGEDCO has also been able to get 150 megawatts of power from Odisha during the evening peak hours and early morning. Medium-term power purchase of 500 megawatts for 3 years, commencing from June 2013, has also been tied up. A global tender has been already floated for the newly announced 660 megawatts Ennur expansion project, and tenders would be soon called for 2 into 660 megawatts units each at Udangudi and Ennur with a total capacity of 2,640 megawatts. I also congratulate the Honorable Chief Minister for announcing a truly breakthrough solar energy policy. As was done for rainwater harvesting, this government will make the generation and use the solar energy a people's movement and achieve the targeted capacity of 3,000 megawatts. The state cannot achieve inclusive growth without ensuring higher growth in the primary sector. Therefore, the allocations for this sector have been increased to an all-time high level. The ambitious target of achieving 5% growth in the primary sector is proposed to be reached during the 12th plan period through integrated management of crop husbandry, animal husbandry, and by developing allied sector activities with a specific focus on enhancing farm level income. Increasing crop productivity, post-harvest management, augmenting storage capacity, and strengthening marketing infrastructure are the main focus areas of this government. These efforts would give more flexibility to farmers to adopt a market-responsive cropping pattern and move towards higher levels of income on a sustainable basis. This government follows a balanced approach in fixing the procurement price for agricultural crops to take care of the farmers' interests without compromising the economic compulsion to protect the consumers. This government has enhanced the procurement price for paddy during 2012-13 to rupees 1350 per quintal for the fine variety and 1300 rupees per quintal for the common variety. These rates are higher by 70 and 50 respectively than the minimum support price fixed by the central government. Similarly, the state advised price for sugarcane has been enhanced to rupees 2,350 per ton including transportation cost, as against fair and remunerative price of 1700 rupees per ton fixed by the central government. The deficient monsoon, the non-release of Kaveri water by Karnataka, and the resultant delayed opening of the Mettur Dam have severely affected the agricultural sector in the state, particularly in the Kaveri Delta area. The timely decision taken by the Honorable Chief Minister to provide 12 hours of uninterrupted three-phase power supply to the Kaveri Delta area and a special package of 107.98 crores for Samba cultivation have helped to save the standing crop to a certain extent. As a special gesture, the Honorable Chief Minister ordered that the entire farmer's share of crop insurance premium in the Kaveri Delta area would also be borne by the state. Even so, the state is likely to suffer severely in achieving its food production targets. The Honorable Chief Minister has already assured the Kaveri Delta farmers that they will be compensated for the crop loss due to water shortage. The high-level committee constituted by the government to assess the crop loss and recommend relief measures has submitted its report, and the government will announce suitable relief package shortly. The state is successfully increasing milk production in order to achieve a second white revolution. The average milk procurement by the dairy cooperative sector has increased by nearly 4 lakh litres per day. This government's flagship scheme of distribution of free milk cows, goats and sheep are being implemented smoothly. By March 2013, the government would have distributed 24,000 milk cows and 10 lakh goats and sheep across the state. I am glad to note that the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe beneficiaries constitute nearly 40% of the total beneficiaries under this scheme. Under the compassionate leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, this government issued orders to implement the schemes to supply rice free of cost to all family card holders. Coupled with the robust universal public distribution system, this has completely eliminated hunger from the state, and food security for the poor has become a reality. The state government spends 4,900 crores per year for food subsidy alone. Considering the adverse agricultural season, our Chief Minister has announced a special Pongal gift hamper consisting of 1 kilogram raw rice, 1 kilogram of sugar and 100 rupees in cash to all the 1.84 crore rice card holders on the festive occasion of Pongal at a total cost of 300 crores. This has greatly boosted the spirits of our farmers during this difficult time and enabled them to celebrate the Pongal festival with customary enthusiasm and cheer. During 2012 and 13, the cooperatives disbursed 3,317.69 crores as crop loan for the period up to December 2012, which is 23% higher than the corresponding period last year. This government has also sanctioned 72 crores during the current financial year to the district central cooperative banks for the revival of the short-term cooperative credit structures. The State Recruitment Bureau and the District Recruitment Bureau for each district have been constituted for the recruitment of personnel for the cooperative societies. In consonance with the 97th Amendment to the Constitution, the state has established the Tamil Nadu State Cooperative Societies Election Commission to conduct free and fair elections to all cooperative societies in the state. The steps taken by the government to make the cooperatives function again as vibrant democratic institutions by commencing the election process are laudable. A growth rate of target of 13.8% for the manufacturing sector is envisioned in the Vision 2023 to put the state on the path of faster economic development. Since non-availability of suitable land is a major hurdle in attracting new investments, the government is considering a comprehensive policy to address the issues related to acquisition of land for industrial purposes. Enthused by the proactive approach of the state government, 17 memorandum of understanding were signed in the recent financial year with the domestic and foreign investors for an investment totaling 26,625 crores, which will generate direct and indirect employment for over 1.45 lakh persons. While Tamil Nadu is already one of the leaders in attracting investments, the state will strive to become one of the top 3 investment destinations in Asia and also the most attractive state for investment in the country. Promotion of micro, small and medium enterprises is given special priority by the state since it provides large-scale employment. Under the revival, reforms and restructuring package for the handloom sector, an amount of 127 crores has been allocated by the state. The Honorable Chief Minister has benevolently announced several measures to protect the tea industry, particularly small tea growers. Tea factories under Indo-Service are being upgraded to improve their operational efficiency at a cost of 6 crores. A new tea factory will be opened at Nanjanad in the Nilgiris district to benefit small tea growers. A tea cluster common facilitation center will be set up near Mettupalayam at a cost of 15 crores. In June, with the mission statement to provide health for all, government has been taking pioneering initiatives in both preventive and curative health care. It is indeed a matter of pride that the 12th plan document refers more than once to the exemplary performance of Tamil Nadu in the health sector and advises the central government to emulate many of the initiatives of the state. Tamil Nadu has already achieved the Millennium Development Goal for reducing maternal mortality rate below 107. At present, MMR stands at 73, whereas infant mortality rate has dropped to 22. Tamil Nadu is one of the few states in the country where the child sex ratio has been on the rise during the past decade. I am happy to inform the House that the state has received 174 crores as incentive for achieving the target in the health sector under the 13th Finance Commission grant. This government's decision to convert the new building in the Omandurar government estate into a multi-super specialty hospital upheld by the Madras High Court and the Supreme Court will strengthen tertiary healthcare facilities in the state by providing better and expert treatment for serious ailments to the economically weaker sections. The newly launched Chief Minister's Comprehensive Health Insurance Scheme has benefited 2,38,749 persons to an extent of 534.39 crores so far. It is noteworthy that out of these, 82,829 beneficiaries availed of the facilities in government hospitals and 176.28 crores has been earned back by these hospitals. This government has taken immediate and effective action to control dengue. With the concerted efforts of the government and the ingenuity of the Honorable Chief Minister in advocating the use of traditional medicines, the spread of dengue was brought under control. This government is striving to provide the needed infrastructure facilities in the state so as to ensure universal access to quality education. The pupil-teacher ratio in the state for primary schools is 27, which is much better than the national average of 30. The time star system and the continuous and comprehensive evaluation system which have been established under the guidance of the Honorable Chief Minister have been well received by the students, teachers and parents. The schemes of supply of free bus passes, textbooks, notebooks, bicycles, footwear, uniforms, school bags, geometry boxes, atlases, maps, color pencils, etc. have contributed immensely to achieving a higher retention ratio by generating much enthusiasm among us children. Although the state has made phenomenal progress in terms of total literacy, the gender gap in literacy is still quite large, and this government is taking all steps necessary to reduce it. I am sure that by the end of the 12th five-year plan, the state would have made significant strides in this regard. As announced during my last year's address, legislation has been enacted to merge the various universities of technology, thus making Anna University the largest technical university in the country. 11 university constituent arts and science colleges have been opened in the current academic year in areas where the reach of higher education is inadequate. Similarly, the government has announced the opening of a national law school in Srirangam Taluk. Besides setting up 2 government engineering colleges and 10 government polytechnic colleges in needy places. The scheme of distribution of laptop computers to students